What is going on, you guys? Today I have another video review for you. This one is from Vagabond Awake, and the title is Cost to Retire in Croatia, Itemized.
Today, I will share our estimated monthly cost to retire in Croatia, including rent, groceries, utilities, internet, cell phone, restaurants, drinking water, laundry, and transportation, if the two of us were to retire here on a tight budget. The United States is one of the greatest places in the world to make money, but I left the US 17 years ago. Why is that? After living in 71 countries, I've noticed that my money goes much further almost everywhere overseas. You see, I found out that money is not everything. The rat race is all about making money, but it's not the only game in town. Many other cultures place a greater emphasis on living an enjoyable life. Honestly, I didn't feel the difference completely until a year after I left. Now that I know the difference, I only go home to visit. And when the plane leaves the USA taking off, I can feel the weight of the rat race lifting off my shoulders. After I share my cost of living in Croatia, I'll share what I learned about Croatian healthcare, food, real estate, things to do, social considerations, visas, walkability, weather, internet speeds, and other expat considerations. Okay, estimated cost to retire in Croatia. Today I found this furnished one-bedroom apartment with a long-term lease at 331 euros, which is 360 US dollars per month in Split, Croatia. If you walk to Old Town, you would be there in about 15 minutes. If you rent for a short term on Airbnb, it would be much more expensive. A larger apartment or an apartment closer to the Old Town could easily cost twice as much per month. So for the middle range expenses, I estimate 720 US per month or more, depending on area and size. Here's the process we use to find great apartments. So we will show you a table of all estimated expenses in a moment. We'll use 360 US per month for our lower rent estimate and 720 US per month for the middle cost of living estimate for expats who want more space. In case these rents are too high for you, smaller towns in Croatia can have as much as a 30% cheaper rents, and rural areas can be even cheaper. When we took the bus south from Split, we saw some less touristy towns along the coast that blew our minds, like Omis and Postrana. Okay, utilities. For the apartment above, we estimate the year-round average utilities for us would be about $60 per month. The utilities would cost more for the larger space, starting at around $140 per month, depending how large it is. Okay, groceries. We would shop in the farmer's market for fresh fruits and vegetables and purchase non-perishable foods and other things like shampoo and detergents in the grocery stores. We estimate about 350 US per month for groceries. Other expats are likely to spend more on imported groceries they miss from home, spending 450 per month or more on groceries, since most don't go to the farmer's market. Okay,
That's actually pretty crazy. I didn't realize that. So he said between like 360 to, I don't know if it was 720 or 750. I mean, that's the same numbers I hear for like Vietnam or some Southeast Asia, some Latin America spots. 360 a month USD on the low end is really good. And I mean, even like I'll hear like Romania or some Southeast Asia spots, like you're splurging, you're spending more than necessary if it's like 800, 1,000 a month. So if they have a decent spot at, what was it, 350 or something like that, I'm impressed.
restaurants. We would eat out twice per week, mostly in more local style restaurants, averaging about 10 to 14 US per meal per person, and one or two splurges per month for $12 to $18 per person. If you add all that up, we'd spend around 260 per month for the two of us in restaurants. We may have a beer here and there, but that is covered below in alcohol. Other expats are likely to eat more Western style foods in expensive expat style restaurants and less in local style restaurants, so they would likely spend more like 380 per month for two people in restaurants. It is lifestyle dependent. Okay, cell phone data. The cheapest prepaid physical SIM cards in Croatia are about 12 USD for 30 days with 5 gigabytes of data. There's a link for that. My Android phone will act as a hotspot, so we can both be on the internet when we're out of the house together. Other retired expat couples are likely to buy two prepaid SIM cards, so they would need about 25 US dollars per month for a prepaid SIM card service. Okay, laundry. The apartments all seem to have clothes washing machines. The above grocery estimate includes laundry detergent, so I'll estimate zero more for laundry. Drinking water. We read online the water is clean here and that many people drink water from the tap, but we'd be a little more careful. We didn't see reverse osmosis delivery in 20-liter jugs here, so we would probably get a Brita water filter. The water filter refills would be about $5 per month for refills. Okay, internet. AT&T tests said our Airbnb Wi-Fi router had 30 megabits per second down and 22 megabits per second upload speeds. We read online that these speeds cost about 28 US per month for in-home Wi-Fi. Okay, public transportation. Public transportation tickets cost $1.50 US per person each way. We met all of our daily needs by walking, so we probably would only average one public transportation ride per week or 4 per month. For the two of us, that would be 8 rides per month at $1.50 each, would put us at $12 per month for the two of us. We'd probably take another 4 Bolt taxi app rides per month, averaging around $8 each or $32 per month. So the total transportation cost for us would be $44 per month for the two of us. Other expats would likely walk less and spend more on taxis and less on public transportation, so I'll estimate $120 per month for them. Okay, alcohol. Domestic beers in the Lidl grocery store in Croatia start at 0.95 euros or $1.03 US for the half-liter size, which is about 50% larger than standard-sized beers in the US. In bars and restaurant, half-liter draft domestic beers run from about 3 to 8 US, depending on the bar or restaurant you're in. We estimate about $150 per month on alcohol for the two of us. Other expats would spend a higher amount possibly for imported, foreign, or craft beers in expat bars, so about $290 US per month for two people, assuming they're not into imported whiskey or wine. Entertainment, which is also optional. We'd budget about $200 per month for entertainment for the two of us. We enjoy more do-it-yourself kinds of entertainment, so expats would spend a little more, possibly maybe $300 per month for the two of them. Okay, estimated cost to retire in Croatia, and this is for Split. Okay, the lower estimate: rent $360 US, utilities $60, groceries $350, restaurants $260, cell data $12, laundry $0, drinking water $5, internet $28, transportation $44 US. If you sum all that up, you'd be at $1,119 US. If you add optional alcohol of $150, you'd be at $1,269, and if you add $200 for entertainment, you'd be at $1,469. For the middle estimate, with rents at $720, utilities $140, groceries at $450, restaurants at $380, cell data at $25, laundry at $0, drinking water at $5, internet at $28, and transportation at $120 US would put you at $1,009 per month for the basic costs. If you add $290 US for alcohol, that would put you at $21.29. If you add $300 for entertainment, it would put you at $2,429 for the middle range. For the upper range, of course, the sky's the limit. Some people spend crazy amounts of money wherever they are in the world. Our above lower cost estimates would be for the two of us living on a tight budget. When we first started exploring, we were on a much tighter budget, but now we spend more because we receive additional income from YouTube and memberships. I would estimate that 80 to 90% of overseas retirees will spend significantly more than our above estimated lower budget. So the middle estimate is just an example of what other expats might spend for these expenses if they moved here. To understand what it would cost you to live here, you must put your feet on the ground, see what you choose to rent, eat, drink, and how you would entertain yourself, and add it all up. It doesn't matter what anyone else spends because we are all different. If you are a retired expat in Croatia and you'd like to share your cost of living, please leave a comment below and I'll invite you on the channel as a guest. That way we'll have more data points for cost of living. Okay, Croatia, retirement, desirability factors. I will now share what I learned about Croatian retirement visas, healthcare, walkability, internet, food, weather, things to do, social considerations, safety, expat communities, and real estate, and then I'll assign an overall retirement desirability score to Croatia. Okay, walkability, I would say high. We walked everywhere in Split, Croatia. We found all of our daily needs within a 5 to 20 minute walk of our apartment. So we would not need a car if we lived here in Split. Avoiding the expense of a car would be highly desirable.
Yeah, so I figured I should pause it there because that's a big one. It depends on what you value, obviously, but walkability, if you can just cut out the bike or the car or whatever, big expense removed. And those prices that he shared were really good. It was like 1,400 or so, I think, for the low end, and that's him including things like eating out and beer and stuff like that, right? And like I don't drink, for example, so you could actually save more. And that high end was still pretty good. It was like just over 2,000, maybe it was like 2,400 max. And that was for two people, by the way. They're eating out, they're both getting something, both getting a drink, XYZ. So interesting because that compares to Latin America and Southeast Asia.
Okay, internet, I would say high. The Wi-Fi in our Airbnb had 30 megabits per second down and 22 megabits per second upload speeds. That was good enough for us to do Zoom calls, upload YouTube videos, and watch Netflix. Okay, food, I would say high. There was a farmer's market just about a 10-minute walk from our apartment, and the little grocery store was just 15 minutes walk away. For fresh fruits, vegetables, and meats, we'd shop in the farmer's market. Our webpage has all of this information and links to all of it, and you'll find that webpage is the first link in the first comment below this video at vagabondbuddha.com. Okay, there are local restaurants with delicious meals starting around 10 to 14, just a few blocks outside the Old Town, which is the Old Town's the tourist area. There's also a large selection of foreign restaurants running from about $12 to $18 $8 per meal, both in and outside the tourist area. But we found a world-class pizza joint just 2 blocks outside the tourist area with the best large-size pizza in the world for just €10 or 11 US dollars. Okay, weather, I would say high. Average daytime highs in Split in the month of January were 51 Fahrenheit, which is 11 Celsius, but it gradually increases until July when it reached 87 Fahrenheit, which is 31 Celsius daytime highs. Average nighttime lows in Split in January are 42 Fahrenheit or 6 Celsius, but gradually increase at night until July when it was 72 Fahrenheit or 22 Celsius.
So really good weather, obviously. Doesn't get too hot. I'm not sure about how cold it gets. Sounds like not too cold either. Um, and then a lot of the places they're walking look pretty decent. Like cool architecture, nice cities, nice restaurants, and probably coffee shops to check out. So
For the nighttime low. The best weather runs from May through October. The rainy season, which rains more than 3 inches or 90 millimeters per month, runs September through December. Snow is rare in Split, but if it does snow, it's only for a day or two and is unlikely to survive on the ground. So this is the first place we've been in this Eastern European tour where I would say the weather would be livable year-round for me. That's why I'm rating the weather high here in Split. Okay, things to do. I would say high. Split is one of the top 3 tourist towns in Croatia, but you don't have to wander far from the medieval Old Town center before you're surrounded by locals. So you can play with the tourists when the mood strikes or completely avoid the high prices and crowds without much effort. The Split Summer Festival has attracted thousands of spectators since the 1960s with fine arts such as drama, opera, ballet, dance, and street theater performances. There is the International Festival of New Film Screening for Alternative Video, Film, and New Media. Other performance fine arts include the Marco Literary Heritage, the Split Graphical Art Biennial Exhibition, the Split Carnival of Fancy Masks with live music, DJ music, and dazzling fireworks, and the 8-day Croatia Boat and Yacht Show, and the Olympic Sailing Week races. I provide 2 event calendars for you on the webpage. There's also all the Adriatic Sea water sports, island hopping, and all of the beautiful smaller villages up and down the coast, including the Dubrovnik Castle, one of the most beautiful water castles in the world. Plus, you're just a ferry ride across the sea from Italy. Okay, social considerations. I would say high. 60% of Croatians are comfortable speaking English. While the official language is Croatian, younger people can communicate in English pretty well. Television and movies are in English with Croatian subtitles, and most modern music has English lyrics. Plus, children learn English in elementary school. People would just look at us and know to start speaking English. Okay, safety considerations. I would say high. Croatia was ranked the 14th safest country in the world, 117 safer spots ahead of the USA. When I last checked, the U.S. State Department webpage for Croatia published the lowest level 1 risk exercise.
that's important to keep in mind, by the way. It's impressive how low the US is on the safety scale. And the ironic part is Americans are shown through media and history and things like that. We're taught like it's unsafe in other countries. Like we're the best, nicest country in the world. Sure, there's nice parts about it. But I had a lot of people when I was living abroad ask me if the US was safe, which should tell you something. Because what gets shown about us isn't always the best stuff either. So yeah, of course, like I'm from the US, like I know we've got safe areas. We've also got unsafe areas too, just like anywhere else in the world.
Normal precautions. You can also review my report, How to Travel the World Safely, which is how I've remained safe traveling the world for 17 years. We went out walking after midnight in Old Town Split and never felt a hint of trouble. Okay, expat community. I would say hi. Croatia became the 28th European Union member state on July 1st, 2013, and joined the Schengen visa membership and adopted the euro as its currency on January of 2023. Croatia has been a NATO member since 2009. A few locals verified what we've learned over the last few months traveling around Eastern Europe. Prices seem to rise rapidly when countries adopt the euro as their currency, especially when they are also a Schengen member country. Okay, here are a few Facebook pages that cater to English-speaking expats living in Croatia. There's 4 of them here. These online expat communities are great for learning all about things that expats want to learn when they first move or retire overseas. But make sure to search for previous questions asked and answered recently before posting any questions to these groups, and then you're more likely to get an answer. Okay, medical. I would say hi. The Healthcare International Comparison Index ranks Croatia 53rd in the world, 16 spots better than the United States, which is ranked 69th. There are different ways healthcare is rated, but this one seems to be considering quality of care in relation to what patients are paying. If you decide to move here, make sure to ask around for referrals and establish relationships with doctors based on the feedback you've gotten from others who've used their services. The above expat Facebook pages may be a good source for that sort of information. Okay, tourist visa. Hi. Croatia is a member of the Schengen visa countries. Citizens of many countries such as the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Malaysia, US, and many others are given 90 days in any 180-day period for time spent in any of the Schengen member countries. Before attempting to enter any Schengen member country, check to see if the electronic visa waiver program is in effect yet. I provide a link. It's been on hold for over a year now. We were able to fly in without applying online when we went. Okay, Croatian residence permits. I would say medium. Depends on whether you hold an EU passport or a non-EU passport. EU citizens are entitled to live and work in Croatia, so they just need to apply for a legal temporary residence. Citizens of non-EU countries, like the US or Malaysia, there's no residence permit specifically for non-EU citizens intending to retire in Croatia. According to this source, there are 3 ways that retired people live in Croatia. 1, prepayment of rent. 2, owning a property. And 3, doing volunteer work. We're not discussing work permit visas here since we're talking about retirement, but those are available too. Okay, prepayment of rent. Applicants can get a 1-year residence permit in Croatia, paying the rent 1 full year in advance. The landlord must provide a 12-month contract so you can register that address as your 1-year permitted residence. You have to leave the country within 3 months after that permit expires, and you cannot renew it until 6 months after that permit expires. Okay, owning a property. If you buy a residential property, you can apply for a 1-year residence permit so long as you reside in the purchased property. This permit is renewable provided you leave Croatia for 90 days at the end of the 1-year permit, and you wait until 6 months after the permit expires before applying again. Okay, volunteering. You must be under 65 years of age and attain a volunteer contract with a nonprofit in Croatia, no longer than 1 year. Okay, here's a link with more details on all the temporary residence permits. We have not personally vetted this source, so make sure to do your due diligence before using their services. Rather than promoting any one visa agency, I would recommend that you request a referral to an agent on one of the Facebook pages I've shared above. Ask the expats there for an agent, or better yet, an immigration lawyer who they've already successfully used to get their residence permits. Okay, real estate. I would say medium. When I read about it today, foreigners are able to purchase real estate in Croatia. Today, I saw this small apartment for sale in Split. Apartments were starting for around 159,000, which is 172,000 US. However, I do not recommend buying real estate in a foreign country until you've lived there for an extended period of time, making sure you love it. If you decide to buy real estate, you should also get your own lawyer who has no conflict of interest with you. For example, do not use a lawyer recommended by your real estate broker or your local lover. Okay, Croatia, retirement desirability score. I would say high. The winters are mild here as compared to other parts of Europe, so I could live here year-round without the need to fly south for the winter. I like warmer year-round weather, but I don't mind cooler weather for a few months of the year, so long as it's not cold. Also, this part of the world is so beautiful, I would love to live here. Okay, what would it cost you to live here in Split, Croatia? Also, if you're going to try to retire cheap offshore, make sure to read my report, The 2 Biggest Risks Retiring Early for Cheap Offshore, which explains why you should have emergency funds available for unexpectedly large expenses. You should also add anything to the table that you spend money on in your home country that's not listed in the table. Presumably, you find those things necessary in life. To do that, visit Numbeo Split, link provided, and add anything not mentioned in the above table. Never move anywhere until you visited first personally to verify the living costs for your lifestyle and needs. I'm not guaranteeing these prices. These are just my notes and estimates from the time of my visit in this post. Your costs will likely be drastically different depending on your lifestyle and the time since this post. Many of the expats we meet living overseas are self-insured for medical. That means that not everyone buys health insurance when they move overseas. That probably sounds crazy to many of you. I didn't carry medical insurance for most of my first 17 years living overseas, but last year I bought medical insurance. If you're wondering what it costs, what it covers, watch my medical insurance video at this link. This is not an affiliate link. More typical expats living overseas in Croatia range from about $1,500 to $3,000 per month, but people spending that much often have higher savings, incomes, or pension. They often report spending more on accommodations, entertainment, eating out more, traveling, and alcohol. Many also have more expensive cars, houses, or apartments. I have over 1,000 videos on YouTube showing you all of my favorite places around the world to retire cheap in paradise. I've categorized them by country so you can binge watch according to your favorite countries. Just Google the words Vagabond Awake YouTube playlist and pick your favorite countries. Or click the link in the...
Okay, awesome. Awesome channel, obviously. So go check out Vagabond Awake. Obviously, he's got a lot of videos like this for other countries as well. So if there's one you're interested, go see if he has a video on it, basically. So a lot of good points. He covered all the good stuff. Food. Obviously, it's gorgeous. The weather's pretty good. Seems like generally, the architecture's cool, beaches. Seems like probably the people are friendly, good digital nomad community as well, right? And obviously rent everyone's favorite is really close to like Thailand and Southeast Asia spots or Latin America. So if you're interested, go check this one out. Thanks, guys, for watching. Subscribe. I'm looking to help more people live a lifestyle by design, not one that was designed for you. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.